Hello, welcome to the Margaret's Only Knitting Show. I am Margaret.
I'm Margaret.
I'm actually called Meg from Meg Wrote Knits, but I am a Margaret.
And I am Margaret from Heidi and Lana.
Yes, and we've already lost it with Giggles for like 15 minutes now. So I'm sure the outtakes of this episode are going to be superb. Lots of fanning and flapping and giggling. It is, believe it or not, November 6th and like 73 degrees outside.
Warm.
It is warm, so
Like,
we might look a little glowy.
I thought about putting on something knit today, and I was like, there's no way.
No, well, and I was telling you, after the last episode, I was just joyous at the prospect of recording again in November where it would be so much cooler.
And wearing something hand knit.
It's too hot to wear anything hand knit. I don't even want to wear anything cotton knit, like, you know, just nothing.
I know, it's like way
really
too
warm.
hot. Yeah.
But despite that, we do have hot tea.
Yes, we do.
We do.
Cold tea would have been a
show
good
them
idea.
your really cute mug.
Oh, yes. This is from Hoofprint Pottery. And we're drinking apple pie. Oh,
Baked apple from Palmer Tea. So this is the same tea company that we had our pumpkin chai tea from last time. That's superb.
It is really good. And it's a really pretty color. It's like red.
I like the size of these
It's very like
cups.
holiday-ish.
You know, sometimes you want a giant mug, and other times you don't.
Little teacup.
I was just thinking, what's that candy? Sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. Which candy bar is that? Okay, having grown up in the 80s, it was, for me, you watch all these commercials and these.
What is it?
Is that like Almond Joy and Mounds or something?
Maybe. That's the
Somebody
only thing
answer that for us.
Yes, that's the only thing I
I
can
can't
think
be
of
the
that
only
would be
one
like
who knows
nut
that
and not
one.
nut.
Yeah, so. Anyway, we did bring some
And
treats.
yes,
Go ahead,
Meg
show yours.
brought
These are pretty.
treats. These are
They're called chocolate chip cloud cookies. They're from Skinny Taste. Everything from Skinny Taste is superb. They've been making her recipes for years. They have all our books, and Vanna White over here is talking like how good they are.
I can sample.
They are so good. They're like
They
a
are
meringue.
amazing.
Yeah, I really like them, and they're good since it is hot. You know that we're not having anything too heavy.
And
But
they're so chocolatey.
yes, I use mini chocolate
Oh
chips
my
instead of
gosh.
regular chocolate chips, so there's like more chocolate chip ratio per bite.
So good. Look at the inside of it.
I love these plates.
All this chocolatey goodness.
Who makes those plates? Is that the
You have to ask.
Stone House?
Yes.
Stone.
Her name changed because it used to be Moorfield Pottery, I think.
Oh, really?
And then
Okay.
she changed to Stonehouse. So I always get confused which one it is. And so yes, Stonehouse Pottery.
Right.
And she's in Worcester, Ohio. So she's kind of local. But these plates
Is
are
that
from
how you
there.
say it? Worcester?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm probably saying it wrong.
Having not
Is it Worcester?
grown up, I say Worcester, but that feels like a very
don't know.
Pennsylvania Dutch way for me to say it. We'll find out. Anyway, we've got treats, but we have lots of knit stuff to show you. We have several new designs. We have some things we're knitting, and then we have something fun to talk to you about regarding knits for this time of year. So why don't you show me? And
Are we doing new
your new
designs?
design?
Okay.
Well, I
So
take a bite
this
of this
is
meringue.
my latest design. It is called Golden Hour, and it's a dishcloth. And this is knit in Knit Picks Dishy from our large stash of, well, my large stash. You also have a large stash.
My large stash.
Of Dishy. So this came out maybe a few weeks ago. I think a
Was it
couple
at least
weeks
1 week,
ago.
maybe 2 weeks?
I think it was 2 weeks ago, maybe. So it's available on Ravelry.
I love the
And
colors.
I have also knit, actually I have it right here. I just found this off earlier today. I'm knitting a wall hanging out of the same design, but I used Homestead DK and a tiny bit of seed fingering held double because I didn't have the right color for
but
the
it
sun.
looks great.
So yeah, so I'm gonna add some fringe down here at the bottom and then attach it and make it.
How do you
like a
attach
little-
it?
I'm gonna use this and a dowel rod and I'll just like whip stitch it on.
Oh, so
And I'm gonna do an
cute.
Instagram reel like showing how to turn the dishcloth pattern into
That's so
the
clever.
wall
That would have
hanging.
never occurred to me. I've actually never made a knitted wall hanging.
Neither have I. I've only done
Oh.
like I've done some woven ones, but
You haven't done that either.
yeah, I love like little wall hangings. So
That's
I
so
think
charming.
it'll be really cute.
Oh
for,
yeah, it's a nice size too.
so
That's a really great idea. I had forgotten you did.
so two
share
things
this
you
too.
can do with one pattern.
It's like a gift that keeps on giving.
Yep.
Okay. I have 2 designs to show you, my dears.
One that just came out last week,
Try
and
this on
one
for me.
I will happily.
The one is called the Whimsical Wrist Warmers, which came out last week.
These are so
And
close.
just shove those tails
sure.
in there. Yeah,
Shove them in. Sorry about that. Am I sharing a secret?
So these had pom-poms on, as you'll see. And before the photo shoot, I'm like, I'm not weaving in the ends because the people who are receiving these, I wanted to see whether or not they wanted the
wanted it up
pom-poms
top.
or the locations of the pom-poms.
That's
So,
a smart
okay.
idea not to weave in.
So my original design, so they're kind of little loosey-goosey, the pom-poms. So this is the Whimsical Wrist Warmer knit in Pearl Soho's Lovebird yarn. This is
I think you talked
called
about the yarn.
Firecracker.
Showed the yarn
I
in the
did.
last
That's right.
episode,
I showed balls of yarn. Well, now you
Yes.
can see it in action. So this is, and this originally I thought, oh, wouldn't it be kind of funky, whimsical, to put it down at the bottom? And my daughter picked it and
This
said,
is
Mom,
really
what
cute
if I
up
put
at
it
the
up
top."
here? Because she has like a dark navy coat, and she said she wears her coat like almost down to her thumb.
Oh,
and then
yeah,
it just
so it would
kind of
get in
pops
the way
out.
there.
Yeah, and it would get in the way.
So
I'm like,
cute.
Emma, what a smart girl.
Very cute.
Right?
I
Aren't they
love
cute?
this colorway too.
That was the paper and ink.
That's really
This is
cute.
Firecracker, and then my son, who's will not fit on my hand. I think I get like tiniest bit. I have pretty slim fingers. The only slim
That's
thing on
really
me, but
little.
yeah, 10-year-old Tommy. These are in this colorway, and he was a funny kid. He said, "Oh, I really like the pom pom." Like he could not stop touching the ones with pom poms, and then he had this moment where it just hit him. It's like, you know what, Mom? I don't think
Maybe
I
that's
should
not
have the
cool.
pom pom. Because I'm afraid, like my friends, the boys in his class, might like pick at them or try it. And I'm like, he's a smart boy too. And I was like, well, that's pretty good. He puts them on immediately, and says, hey, they're kind of like boxing mitts. And he's like doing this. Then we're creating the scene for the pictures for his. He wanted to have different sea creatures. He has a huge collection of animals and things and dinosaurs. And he put a few whales and sharks out. And then he's like, oh, these like pom-poms are kind of like fish. They're like attacking the other ones. So he did
With the tails hanging
with
off
the
them.
tails hanging off of them.
That
And
was so
like,
cute.
It's kind of like a scene. I'm like, gosh, man, these kids. I have to
Very
start
creative.
paying them for their like creativity.
I
Yeah.
know.
So
Emma's idea for the pom poms
So-
up top. And
yes. So Whimsical Wrist Warmers comes in 3 sizes: the child, the adult, small, medium, which is one size, which is what I made for Emma and myself, and then there is a large, extra large as well.
super cute.
Yep, Ravelry doesn't take a lot of yarn. Lovebird is a bulky or a chunky weight, not to be confused with a super bulky, because sometimes people clump it in there and they're very different gauges.
What size of needles?
10s, and what I was going to
so
say
they
is
hit up really fast.
you could use, just like for the sugar pie mitts, you could hold her homestead worsted with a fingering weight yarn. I think it was fingering weight that I used. And
Or was it DK?
Or was it DK?
I don't know.
I'll get back to you on that. You can hold multiple strands together to create
get
a
a
new
chunky.
gauge. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you don't have any in your stash, but you want to jump in.
That's a good idea because
Yeah.
I don't really usually have chunky, and so
Oh, I love
you
chunky
have
yarn.
all
I
the
do.
chunky yarn.
I really do. I like effectively speedy knitting. Okay, and the other design is new. So new, in fact, that we still have to take pictures.
It has not been released yet,
Which is
but
why
it
my
might
hair
be.
is down, so I can be in pictures. Otherwise, it would be up. Yeah, it is technically tech edited, and technically it is tech edited. I knew I was going to say that. Tripping over my own words here. So once I get the pictures done, I think later this week. I'm thinking like Thursday.
So it might
Come
be
out.
after this episode comes out,
Yes.
possibly. I don't know.
Yeah, before the end of this week. So
Yeah.
it should be
Soon.
soon. So the
And it is so cute.
it is the Dutton Mill. Here, you want to know?
Yes.
It is the Dutton Mill
This one is
cow.
my favorite color combo. Oh my gosh.
I don't know which
Do you know
one
what these
to-
colors are?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Okay.
I know, I'm totally
So
interrupting.
first, it is old yarn. Local is their yarn, and which is a 50 merino wool. 50 merino wool, 50% alpaca. Sorry. Woo.
Did you say
I mean,
worsted?
It is worsted weight yarn,
Okay.
and these colors are red squirrel and fringe tree.
They are so good together.
Yeah, and it is so it's shaped like a bandana. It is worked flat and then seamed, and I had to do it that way because I really wanted the angles
is
of the
so
stripe.
good.
Yeah, the diagonal of the stripe, but I didn't want to do it like color
It's a
work where you have to
tiny
change
little
it with a
seam, though.
chart.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tiny. Go ahead, show them in the back. So there's that one.
So not much theming at
No,
all.
no, no. And this colorway, there's some fun texture down at the bottom.
That's pretty too.
Basswood is the chocolate brown, the deep dark chocolate brown. And then this green is Wissahickon. Shout out to my Philly friends who knows. You know what's funny? It looks green-blue by itself, and you put it with this and it has like a different cast.
Yeah.
So
It's like gray, but chocolate. It's like kind of,
yeah.
it's very unique.
Check one of these on.
Yes. Oh, it is so cute on. Oh my gosh. And that'll be perfect like in the neck of a coat because just like leave the top part of the coat open.
Right.
And it's
Well,
just
and
like,
I really like this kind of shape.
oh,
And this color combo is wood fern is that green. I'm trying to get the angle. So wood fern is the green, and then gray birch is the sort of gray brown, like that muddy gray brown.
that's a good combo too. They're
So
all
it's
cute.
coming out later this week.
Super cute.
125 yards of your main color of worsted weight yarn and about 75 yards of your contrasting yarn. So you really, if you're using local yarn, and actually if they used either of your meadow worsted or homestead worsted, whatever you have in stock, you actually could make two, but reverse the colors.
Oh, that's a great idea.
I love when you can do that. That makes me so happy. I like getting a good bang for your buck.
Yes, and then, I mean, it's perfect. Like, make one for
Try this
yourself,
color
make
on.
one for a gift. Oh, that looks really good with your black. Like the black top.
Yeah, it shows up a little better.
This was a little too close to the...
Right, yeah. But this one will look good too.
I'm gonna try this one on.
Please do. Yeah, I was hoping you would. Didn't want to, force your hand.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
that looks so cute on you.
So cute.
I like those colors on you a lot.
I love this
Look nice
like
with your
rusty
green.
brown. It's like so cute.
But unfortunately, it's like 1,000 degrees today in November, so I'm not keeping this
No.
on.
We actually have the window open so that we could get a little bit of a breeze.
Yeah.
It's so warm.
So anyway, so those are our 3 new designs. We've got the Golden Hour
Yes, dishcloth.
dishcloth, thank you, and the Whimsical Wrist Warmers, and the coming out very, very soon Dutton Mill Cow. So I've been busy making a lot of samples this week, but what have you been knitting? I'll turn this up here.
Well, I feel like it has not been much because I have been doing a lot of design knitting too, but I did add the next color to my Cozy Comfort throw. So this one here was the October Patreon mini, and it was inspired by my trip to, oh, I already took the leftovers downstairs. My trip to Hocking Hills.
I love these
So like the
flecks.
gray of the rocks and then like the fall colors in there. It has kind of like a
Can I
rusty.
show this up close? I like how these flecks like complement that.
Yes.
Oh, you were thinking, weren't you?
I was. Well, when I dye the Patreon colorways, in case people are using them in a project, this was not a Patreon color and this was not. So if you can imagine like these ones like being next to each other, I try to make them so that it would like flow nicely from one to the next if you're using it like in a big project like
I
this.
don't think people realize, most because I didn't realize, like how much thought, really a lot of thought and a lot of planning goes into dyeing these mini skeins.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So, and then I also make the minis coordinate because the Tier 4 has a full skein, and so it also coordinates with that in case they wanted to use the full skein and the mini like in a project like socks or something like that,
so
that
nice.
it makes like a sock set. So yeah, that was the October mini skein.
I can't wait to see what the November is. Okay, and I have been knitting. Sorry, still chewing. Not very ladylike. Sorry, guys. I have been knitting my second sock of a pattern of mine that came out last November called the Holiday House Sock. Right? Yeah, that's
And
what
we were
it's called.
just talking before we started recording about how both of us are already getting in like the Christmas holiday spirit, like
Hallmark Channel is just evil in all their
I like
cute
can't wait to start
flannel and
decorating
Christmassy, wintry, Maine, New Englandy scenes. And I've already been thinking about
It's like once Halloween is over, then it's like I'm just like kind of almost ready. I'm not gonna decorate or anything yet, but like
no,
I'm
Emma and I were just talking
I
about
guess.
this. Like I may or may not have been listening to Christmas music while in the car, and I might be guilty of having watched many Hallmark Christmas movies.
Not
it's
just
great
a few.
It's great work knitting, viewing, but nothing has been put out. No decorations have been put out. No, I don't. I restrain myself until Thanksgiving, day after Thanksgiving. I just love it.
Yeah.
And I want to make some more decorations this year. Like I was looking at different, like yarn related crafts that,
okay. Like knitted or not necessarily?
Like knitted, or like I just saw this, there's this cute tree. You know, ever get those like cones or like foam from the craft store, and they're just the way that the yarn is wound around. It looks like a tree, but like how the color progresses. I might have to investigate that, but that might be for a future discussion since we have other things we have to get to.
You knit me a tree last year, a little knitted tree.
Oh yeah, I think I knitted me a tree too. So maybe next episode we'll talk more about holiday decorations. Yeah. You see, my cheeks are already 2 shades
getting
pinker
red
than they were before. Okay, so what I've been knitting is, here is the first one. It's called they never look as nice when they're not blocked, but so bear with me.
And it's been in the bag.
It may have been in the bag for many, many months. So this is
like an old whip that you
This
picked
is a
up.
really old whip. I'm trying to remember. So cranberry and Dear Santa. Okay, that's what I was trying to come up with. I wasn't like blanking on everything. All right, so the holiday house sock is the DK weight knitted sock. That's really like more like a bed sock or a slipper sock. And the cuff has this cute like ribbony rickrack stitch pattern. Cute. And then it's, you know, stockinette throughout so that you can really show off those fun speckles or variegated colors, or if there's like self-striping yarn. And then at the toe and the heel, and the other ones, this is my second pair because I made a pair like this for Emma.
Okay.
And out of her sock set, because I've gotten a sock set from Margaret.
This is Homestead DK.
Oh, thank you. Yes, Homestead DK. Yes, that is important. There was enough yarn of the main color to make a second pair of socks rather.
Oh, wow.
So you were very kind and gave me, do you remember you sent me a little bit extra of the
mini.
Or the mini. So this is how far I am into my second sock.
Well, you've got it started.
I know,
That's
right?
the biggest thing. Is getting it cast on.
And also getting it untangled, right? So we didn't get too far. I'm just like an inch in. I have another inch to go or so, and then.
But these knit up so fast.
Right. Once you're past that cuff, which requires a tiny bit of attention, then it's just stuck in it. You just zoom.
And I'm going to be bringing back both of these, this sock set as a pre-order here.
Oh, great.
Soon-ish.
The other color was eggnog and toffee, and I love.
I couldn't remember what it was.
I only remembered because I looked it up.
Okay.
We're going here.
Yes,
my memory cannot be relied upon these days, but that one I looked up. So that's what I'm knitting right now. I do have some work knitting that I have to get back to, but that's what I've got. But this is a great segue into what we wanted to talk to you about today, which was patterns that we have used or highly recommend for knitted gifts for the upcoming holidays. So Margaret was really organized and actually has things to show you. I, however, just have a list.
But the problem is when you're talking about gift knits, if it's something that you've done as a gift,
I already gave
you
it
don't
away.
have it. Like, it's not here to show.
So she has some
I have
great ones.
one that you gifted me that
which is
I
on
can
my
show.
list. So my list consists of items patterns I have knitted several times.
And gifted.
And gifted. They're like my go-to patterns that I've done over and over and over again. So one I had given Margaret, which I have yet to make for myself, by the way.
It's so cute. And it's so, it's just one of those things that you use. You know, I love this so much. I pull it out whenever I'm
water bottle.
Yes.
This is something I did not have until a few years ago. I have, my husband claims I have no circulation. I have very cold feet. So
it's just the best.
It's best. You just fill it with hot water. Screw it in. Put it at the bottom of your bed. And actually, if you're like sick, you have the flu or you're cold, hugging that is so lovely.
So comforting.
So this was Meadow DK in your
Snowdrift.
Snowdrift. Yes.
So it's so cute.
It's
so
sweet.
You gave this to me for Christmas, I think last year, right?
Yes, I did.
So
the thing about this, I just have to say before we move on, this colorway. She specifically created for my winter solstice pillow. Thank you.
We just fill in each other's sentences.
I need this actually to have someone fill in my sentences. And we talked about like a creamy white with like maybe little flecks of blue, but not necessarily speckle. And she showed me the yarn. And despite having been a knitter for 20 years and a designer for 10, I had this moment of, oh, those are like big blocks of color. And she saw the panic in my face. She's like, no, Meg, stop right now. This isn't how it knits up. It's like, oh, okay. She's like, take it home, try it. Of course. 2 inches into my knitting, I'm like, this is exactly what we talked about. She trusts Margaret. She knows what she's doing. She's
because like when you dye it, it's like these little like splotches.
Right,
and
they
they're
look like
bigger.
half-inch blocks almost.
Like bigger than a speckle.
Yes,
And
look how
so,
it
but
knits
then
up.
when you have it, then it just creates like one or two little
so
stitches,
beautiful.
and then they're just like all over like that. So,
I love it. I just have to make one
so
for me.
that is one that you. Do you want to tell them?
Oh, yeah,
your,
I'll just go to my list. That's a good idea.
And then I'll show the other things
So,
that I have out here.
a hot water bottle cozy I've given to several people. It's from Church Mouse Yarns and Tees. They have a lot of beautiful patterns. They even have for that several motifs you can get to, they might even be free.
Like color work?
Yes, color work. So like I made one a few years ago, a hot water bottle cozy for my mother that was green. She loves green. And it has like a white giant snowflake color work motif.
Oh, how
yeah. So
cute.
it's just like a fun little extra special thing. But when you want to show off, you know, really interesting yarn.
And the nice thing about something like this is like, it's not a giant project, but it just is like such a nice, it's just a really nice thing. Like, yeah.
I'm with you.
I mean, it's just that little bit of like handmade that like makes people feel special, I guess is what I'm saying.
I'm 100% with you on that. So a few of the other things I've made, 2 of my designs that I have made many, many times are, one is called the Sporting Beret. And that is, it uses a bulky weight or a chunky weight yarn. And it's just a simple beret that has some texture and then like a cute textured swirl at the top. And I can't even tell you how many times I've made that one. And then the other one I have is the color block mitts. And that pattern is 3 blocks of color. And I'm so sorry I don't have any of these with me because like I said,
You've gifted them.
they're all gone. And even my samples, I actually do own those still for me and I still wear, but they're so worn, they're like 10 years old. They're, you know, kind of pilled and need a little bit of love. Well, that's just show you how much they're a great pattern, right? So like it has like 3 blocks of color, a full mitt, and then it also includes a fingerless mitten pattern that's like 1 bigger block of color and then a smaller block.
Oh,
so, but I have even made them.
So you can do either way.
So you can do either way, but I've even made them solid. Like when I've had like an interesting yarn, just knit the whole thing in it. But that's been great, the Sporting Beret. And then the other 2 patterns that I have knit a ton. One, I think you made last year.
I
it's
did,
from
based on your recommendation.
I'm looking at my notes, by the way. That's why I'm, you know, looking off to the side. It's called the Bandana Cow. Gorgeous pattern, free, well written from Pearl Soho's website. And I think that uses a worsted or Aran weight yarn, maybe.
Yeah, I think it is worsted.
I don't know if it includes different
Or is
gauges.
it DK?
No, it's definitely not DK.
Not DK. Okay.
It might be though knit more like at a 17-inch over 4 inches gauge rather than like 18 or 19.
I can't remember.
It's worth looking into.
Yes.
Highly recommend it. And actually, Pearl Soho had been having a knit along, a bandana cow knit along, like this past week. So I don't know if that's still going on. And the other pattern, it's from Pearl Soho, the owner of Pearl Soho, Joelle Hoverson. Hope I'm saying your name right. I love your books. The Last Minute Knitted Gifts, and she has a second one called More Last Minute Knitted Gifts.
Okay.
But this one is from the first. I made tons of patterns from these books, but there's one called the Cozy Wrist Warmers. And I've given this as like teacher gifts over and over and over again.
Nice.
Worsted weight yarn, textured, and I think it includes 2 different directions. But it's, you know, works to the wrist, and then you work flat, you go back and forth, and then you work a little bit further. But like, it's a unisex, you know, pattern, and I had a friend I'd given, I don't even know how long ago, 15 years ago maybe. He loved it because he said in his office it gets really cold when he's typing on the computer.
Oh, yeah.
So that worked out really well. So those, the Sporting Beret, the color block knits, the hot water bottle cozy, the bandana cow, and the cozy wrist warmers are my, I mean, I have more that I've written down here, but we're not going to sit around all day talking about that. I want to see what you have because you actually have things to see.
So I grabbed a couple things that I often think of like doing, like, I guess these are maybe more like hostess gift type things. Not necessarily, but
parties
kind
in
of.
the holidays.
Yeah, maybe something that you would do for that. I'll start with this one. So this is something that I have taken like as a hostess gift, filled with like local wrapped chocolates, and then just tie a little bow.
Same. That'd be a really good one.
So, and then just tie like a little bow around it. And this is my Gather Bowl pattern. So this is the smallest size. The pattern comes with instructions for 3 different sizes. And so this is just the smallest one. You could use the other ones too, but I think this is like the perfect little size. And then it's also great because
Did you
like,
say what yarn you used?
Oh, this is Homestead DK. And I have actually kits for this in the shop,
do you really?
too. So yes. So there are kits for this, or the pattern is on Ravelry as well. But it's DK weight held double, and so it knits up super quick.
Oh,
and obviously it's not very big. But it's also a nice size because after they like use whatever you put in it, you'd suggested teas would be really nice in it too, which I think that would be really perfect.
Yes.
So anything like wrapped and just like kind of
Cookies.
gifty in
You
there.
could make your own chocolate chip cloud cookies.
Yeah, and just put like a
Mm-hmm.
little cute little ribbon on it. That'd be so cute. But it's nice afterwards. Then they can use it like to throw keys in. It's just like a nice little like catch-all.
Want to make one of those because I have it's that same color green. It's not your yarn. It's from years ago, but it's a felted bowl. Mm-hmm. I mean, and it's like 20 years old. It clearly has seen plenty of keys in and out of that bowl. But like, what a nice replacement.
Is like a nice...
I am loving this
little
tab.
the little Heidi and Lana sheep leather tag. And I have those in the shop too. So that is one idea.
I'm gonna look at this a little bit more.
And then another thing that I think would make a really nice gift as well is coasters. And this is my Cozy Coasters with the little tray. So the pattern comes with the instructions for the tray.
Is that 2 years ago?
And then, yeah, this was the
For,
Huga design 2 years ago. And then there's 4 different
I thought there's a tray too.
coaster designs. So you could do one design, you could do all 4.
2 of each.
Yep. So the pattern comes with the instructions for all 4. And then another thing is my other coasters, the Cypress ones, which I think we talked about in the last
we didn't
episode.
show because we were showing Patch.
I had to go
the
grab these
adorable
out of my Christmas
pumpkin
box.
ones.
But yes, so this is the Cypress coaster,
cute.
which is nice to give for Christmas, but then they can use it all winter because it's just a pine tree.
Right, like you can have that out Thanksgiving through, well, March in Ohio.
Yeah,
You know.
I mean, it's just a pine tree. And all of my coaster designs are the same size. So if you did a tray,
cute in there.
like you could do some of those and some just like
that
that they
looks
can
nice
use
with it
anytime.
too, yeah.
Yeah. So there's some same colors in there. So yes.
That is so great.
So
But
there's some
I
more
do
like
think
I guess
a
home
gather
type
bowl
things.
is in my future. Well, because
And especially because sometimes you don't want to knit something that like has to fit somebody. I mean, there are things like cows and stuff.
but there
that
is
fit everybody,
nothing worse than when you give a gift to someone and
and
then
they don't want to wear
it.
it. Yes. Whereas like if you knit something like the hot water bottle thing
It's
or those
practical.
kind of things, it's like practical that they can use it even if they're not the type to wear something
items.
knitted.
Right, like so my
And I also feel like, have you ever had people like be like, oh, it's too nice to wear?
yes.
Which is the worst thing ever. But
Can you
like
tell
at
how
least,
I feel about this?
At least if it's something like this, I feel like they might be more likely to use it because they're not wearing
Well, I'm thinking
it.
like
I don't know.
I have 2 older brothers. One's on the East Coast, one's on the West Coast, and both of them are walking furnaces. So neither of them are wearing hats, or scarves or gloves, really, unless if it's like really, really snowing. So like
But
something
like
like
everybody
this,
needs a coaster.
everybody needs a coaster. Like that is such a great,
Or a place to
such
throw
a
their
great gift.
keys or like it's, yeah.
That's so great. So we have a lot of great ideas for you.
Yes. So those are our gift knit ideas.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, practical. We were saying we think next time, well, we were saying it last time, so I'm going to remind you now. Because we didn't talk about this before.
It's recorded, so now we'll remember.
Next time we will, and I'll try and remember to bring some, share some of our favorite tools and things that are maybe, you know, knit related that you could give as gifts. So like,
or put
something
on your
a knitter
wish list.
might like to receive, like these gorgeous gauge rings that my friend makes. So anyway, yeah, we'll talk about that next time. And there's some
and
great
like
tools.
some tool things like
I have
like
one
our
in particular
favorites and
that's
different things.
in the back of my mind that I have to show, and I will do my best to remember to bring it because it's gorgeous. So right now we would move into our Jar O questions, which we do have, but one of our viewers, Jess, had posted a question in the comments on our YouTube page, so we thought we would answer it for you. And the question is, did you save any of your first knitted projects?
You should answer first.
So, I had saved some for quite a while, but then there might have been a cloth moth incident. I know. I feel like Chopin's funeral march should be playing right now. Dun 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 dun. Yeah. Anyway, so but I don't have my original first, maybe like half a dozen, but my first big blanket I do have. It is a Debbie Bliss pattern. It's So when she had her denim Aran weight yarn, which is really great cotton yarn, unfortunately it's discontinued, but I loved it. And is this big throw, sort of a checkerboard of 2 colors of denim cotton yarn, and then the blocks were all cable knit blocks. I learned a lot of lessons. Might have learned that dye lot lesson again.
Learned that twice.
Learned that twice. Finally learned it from that one.
I
Finally
think
stuck.
some things it's like, I mean, I guess some things you do finally learn, but like I've had a couple incidents on my alignment throw that I've been knitting on where it's my own pattern and I've like cut it too close because I know there's like, you know how when you design a pattern,
wishful thinking.
You put a little extra yardage, like you figure.
Oh, you have to, yes, because people don't always follow the gauge, and so you want to make sure they have enough yarn.
Yeah. So I have a little extra figure in there, but I know that, and so like I'm trying to cut it too close. It took twice. I have run out of the contrasting color, trying to use up like leftovers. You know,
and
like
you had to take it all out.
That's like no. Well, the first time it worked out because I had another color. It was like just happened to be really close. It was like some leftover from one of my advents, and it was close enough that I could blend it in.
Oh, that was clever.
And then, because I think
like striping, like you alternated.
I'm not sure if the other one was like, I can't remember if it was one of a kind or not. I'm not sure, but anyway, yes, I was just able to alternate, and it blended in good enough. And then this one, I just dyed another mini skein. So I'm like, oh, my hope of being able to use up like then makes me break into another complete mini. So
I think the lesson is that
I have not learned my lesson.
Experienced people too,
and sometimes we keep making the same mistake over and over again.
I feel like gauge is one that takes people a lot of experience, a lot of
maybe
projects
the dye lot
to
thing,
get
you do it like a couple times and then you really learn your lesson.
So the dye lot, there's a few blocks that look like 2 totally different shades of color, even though they're the same color. And there were a couple blocks where, you know, a cable pattern repeat might be 3 times, and I thought I did it 3 times, but I actually only did it twice. But the reason I still have this blanket,
because you probably didn't know how to like read your knitting very well.
I had no
like,
idea how to read my knitting, and I
done.
wasn't doing anything smart like, you know, writing them down or I was like, oh, I can keep track of this. No. So the reason I still have this blanket in my bedroom is many years ago now. I had a moment of creativity in the middle of the night when probably my daughter, but they both have done it, but probably Emma woke up from a nightmare, and you know, when you're a parent in the middle of the night, much like if you're a person who has a pet and they have to go out in the middle of the night, you're like, yeah, just hold it. It's kind of, there's only so much love and affection you can provide at 2 a.m. when you're really tired. So I'm like, oh, this here is a dream blanket. Let's put this on top and it will, you know, take your bad dreams away and bring you good dreams.
That was genius.
Right. Okay, so the former special ed teacher kicked in, and that's why. So there's all the scientific research and studies that have shown that having a weighted blanket, which I'm sure you've seen, it's kind of buzzworthy at this moment, but a weighted blanket does calm and settle you. And cotton yarn
is heavy.
And a
whole
big old
blanket.
Cabled cotton yarn blanket is very heavy. So I'm like, just toss this on. And I mean, this thing is it's probably 20 years old. Yeah.
Magic.
It is. So now, I mean, they're much older, although they're still kids. They have come in, they're like, I had a bad dream. Can I have the dream blanket? I'm like, yep, it's over there. Okay. I don't even like walk it back or toss it on. But this thing is like it's so beat up, but I do still have that. Do you have any of your earlier projects? Because I know we both said that neither of us have that scarf that we both made.
Well, I gave that as a gift, but I'm sure my sister does not still have that. That's like, what would that even be, like 20 years ago or something? Over 20 years ago.
I have even said to like my brother, one of my brothers, my mom, like, you don't actually have to still keep this. Like, it was very nice for a while. I'm like, you know, it's kind of worn. I'm really not offended. I would throw it out if I were you. There's a lot of pills that are not removable at this point.
So yeah, I do not have that, and I don't think I have like a lot of my first things because, well, like the hat and the mittens that I knit, mitten, I should say, those were the gauge issues. And I know I did like some other gift knitting like in the early days too. So I really don't have a whole lot. Now my designs, I've saved a lot of those, and I think I have like most of those, even like the very early ones. So.
Well, that's good that you still have some of those.
Because there was an even earlier version of the Gather Bowl.
How was it different?
So I was doing hand spun yarn at the time, and so the yarn was, one ply of it was like sewing tissue paper, like patterns.
Oh, I think we talked about this.
And so like I would spin that into the yarn, and so it had like this really cool texture. So I saved that one. I do have like that, and that was like,
oh, I might have to see that
maybe
at some
like
point.
2011, 12, like something
Wow.
like that. So like that was like,
Yeah.
a while ago. I mean, it's not really an early thing that I knitted, but
No, but
earlier
to hold on to
design,
anything, I
guess.
think more than 10 years, especially if it's something that you use, like as a
Yeah,
knitter,
yeah.
I use the things I make, or I'm giving them to people at this point who would hopefully use them.
Yeah. I do feel like it is hard to get rid of things that you've knit though, like even like as they're getting worn out, or like maybe
Sometimes
it's
you
just
love
something
it.
that you don't like wear anymore, like maybe the styles
Yeah,
changed and stuff like that.
I don't
but
know
it's
what
kind
to
of
do with all
painful.
those, like I was just telling Margaret earlier, I have
I'm thinking sweaters because
Yeah.
styles changes. If it's
sweaters,
not,
yeah, but even accessories, like I have like
Your color taste
like,
changes.
It's like overflowing these plastic, Rubbermaid drawers full of accessories in my coat closet that like I can't fit anymore, but I'm not about to stop knitting them. Like, what should I, I guess the really smart thing would be just to,
Let it go.
donate them.
yeah.
That would be the really nice thing to do. But I don't know. I've offered them to Emma or my mother-in-law, like local friends, like, hey, do you want this? But, some people are like funny about, hand-me-downs, even hand knit ones. So I'm not sure. We have to solve this puzzle and see who wants
It's almost
hand-knit
like
cows.
a little bit of you is like knitted into it. You know, when it's something that you spent time on, like there is something that's like a little bit harder to get rid of
it is
versus
hard.
just like store-bought things.
Yes. Oh, yes. That's for sure.
And even sometimes it's hard to purge store-bought things.
Especially if you love them.
Yeah. So
So that'll be something to work on, go
Yeah.
through.
is that everything on our list?
On our list. I know. I'm like, oh, I even already mentioned the last thing, which was next time talk about favorite tools for gifts.
Wow. Like we covered
I
it
know.
all.
We were
And
so out of it the last
not
episode.
even an hour?
It was like 51 minutes the last
It
one.
was really long.
It was a little long. We understand if you had to, pause. But I hope you come back and watch them because the outtakes are always a blast. I think there's a scene of me fanning myself with my shirt. It's kind of ridiculous. So hopefully the next time we'll talk about some more gift-related things.
Maybe we'll be wearing hand knits if it's not 70
That's
some
what I'm
degrees
saying.
out.
Hopefully it's cooler.
We're not even wearing hand knit socks. I was like, it's too hot for socks
No,
today.
I didn't. I was gonna wear sandals, and I thought, oh, I can't wear sandals in November, but I did go sockless.
It's that warm.
It is that
It's
warm.
warm.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens in a few weeks from now. We're really getting into the holiday season, and I don't know. Don't forget to knit for yourselves, guys. Like
Yes.
this time of year, I know we do like to knit for other people, but I'm gonna just say be selfish sometimes.
Yeah.
And knit for yourself. Like, you have to take care of yourself too.
And sometimes just knitting, well, and not
Is
putting the
self-care.
pressure. Yes.
Yes.
And if it's not putting the pressure on that you have to like give it, even if
Right.
it is something that maybe you do give away eventually, but like, yeah, just taking that time just to relax, especially during the craziness of like the holidays, it can get,
Yeah, have some tea and some cookies.
Yeah.
With your friend.
especially the chocolate
I
clouds.
think this is
whatever
like
they are.
an even darker shade of pink now. I'm just noticing it this episode. Just call me Rosie Meg.
Rosy and glowing.
Oh yeah, that's it. Anyway, well, happy knitting, guys. Thanks for checking in with us, and stay tuned for the outtakes because I'm sure they'll be comical.
And we'll see you guys next time. Bye. Do we like where we're sitting?
Well, I mean, I can get closer.
Fix the hair one more time. A little bit of gray
A
showing
little bit of
there.
gray. This one on my son and this one on my husband. Cats have though, right, Pearl? Lucy. Lucy likes to knock over things. I'd go to bed and the baby spider plant would be on the ground. Like, what is happening? It's expression of curiosity killed the cat. Might have applied to her. Okay, should we get started? I'm Margaret.
Meg from that.
Meg, Margaret.
Don't start yet. I'm not ready. Is this our list?
Yeah.
Hi, it's Margaret and Margaret.
Me fanning myself. I think we should just get started.
Okay. Oh, it's already recording.
Oh, right.
If I would have hit stop and then we would have done the whole episode and it wouldn't have been record.
Jeez.
Okay.
Maybe we need to put something in this tea.